The Xorthians were the most feared warriors in the galaxy. Known for conquering countless death worlds, they had no equals in battle. Their strength was unmatched, their technology advanced beyond anything the universe had ever seen. When they arrived on Earth, they expected another easy victory. The planet had no defenses strong enough to stop them, or so they thought. As their massive fleet of warships entered Earth's atmosphere, the sky seemed to tremble with the weight of their arrival. The Xorthians were confident, too confident. They had crushed entire civilizations in their wake, and Earth, with its primitive defenses, was no different in their eyes. But as their ships descended into Earth's atmosphere, something felt different. The air was thick with tension, almost as if the planet itself was warning them. They ignored the feeling, pressing forward with the same arrogance that had served them so well in the past. The first Xorthian dropships landed on Earth's surface with a deafening roar. The ground shook as the invaders disembarked, their armored forms towering over the landscape. They could hear the whispers of their victory already echoing in their minds. This was just another conquest. But as they took their first steps on Earth, something strange happened. The planet felt alive, as if it were watching them, waiting. The first group of Xorthian soldiers moved forward, their weapons drawn, eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of resistance. The humans, weak and insignificant in the Xorthians' eyes, were not yet in sight. The invaders could sense the tension building, but it wasn't from fear, it was something else. There was a strange energy in the air, a pulse that vibrated through the ground beneath them. The humans, meanwhile, were not as helpless as the Xorthians had assumed. Earth's soldiers had been preparing for this moment for years. The government had kept their technology and plans hidden from the public, but it was ready. When the Xorthians landed, Earth's military was ready to strike. They had weapons the invaders hadn't anticipated, and their strategies were sharp and unpredictable. But the Xorthians didn't know this yet. They were still too confident. As their forces spread out across the Earth's surface, they began to engage with the first wave of human soldiers. At first, it seemed like a typical skirmish. The Xorthians were overpowering, easily cutting down the few humans who dared to resist. But even in the face of this overwhelming force, the humans fought back fiercely, unlike anything the Xorthians had expected. The ground shook with the clash of battle. The invaders' weapons were powerful, but there was something different about the humans' resistance. They fought not just for survival, but with a strange determination that sent an uncomfortable feeling running through the Xorthians. For the first time, they wondered if this world was going to be as easy to conquer as the others. The battle raged on, but the Xorthians were starting to feel an unease. They had expected Earth's defenses to crumble easily under the weight of their advanced technology and superior fighting skills. But as the hours passed, they began to realize that the humans were not like the other species they had conquered. Human soldiers moved with an unexpected level of coordination, as if they knew exactly what the invaders would do next. The Xorthians' weapons, capable of wiping out entire cities in a single blast, were proving less effective against the humans than they had anticipated. Earth's military had been hiding something, an advanced weaponry system that the Xorthians couldn't even begin to understand. The first sign of trouble came when one of the Xorthian generals, high in the command ship, ordered a strike on a human stronghold. The sky lit up with beams of pure energy, but when the smoke cleared, the stronghold was still standing. The Xorthians had expected the attack to annihilate the building, but instead, it had only left a small crater, and there were no signs of human casualties. The general was baffled. How was this possible? The humans were supposed to be weak, unprepared for a force like the Xorthians. But now, it seemed like Earth was anything but defenseless. The humans were more than just survivors. They were adapting faster than the Xorthians could keep up. Then the ground beneath them began to rumble in a way the Xorthians had never felt before. The Earth seemed to be alive, as if the planet itself was waking up. It wasn't just the human forces that had a plan. They were tapping into something far greater than their technology. The Xorthians were beginning to feel it, a deep primal force that was awakening from the heart of Earth itself. Before they could react, Earth's hidden defenses unleashed their first strike. Giant electromagnetic pulses shot from hidden bases beneath the surface, disabling the Xorthians' advanced weaponry and forcing their ships to crash land. The Xorthians, stunned and confused, tried to regroup, but the humans were already on the offensive. A wave of human fighters, equipped with strange, advanced technology that the Xorthians had never seen, swarmed the battlefield. They didn't just fight. They fought with a speed and precision that matched the best warriors the galaxy had ever produced. The Xorthians' superior strength and firepower began to seem meaningless as the humans adapted and fought back with incredible ferocity. The invaders were disoriented. The technology they had relied on for years was useless against the humans' new weapons. Every time they thought they had gained the upper hand, another unexpected force would emerge. They could see it now. Earth wasn't a planet full of weak, primitive beings. It was something more. The leader of the Xorthian fleet, his mind racing, issued orders to retreat. This was no longer a simple conquest. Earth had become a nightmare. But even as they pulled back, the Xorthians could feel the planet's energy rising, as if the very ground was rejecting their presence. The retreat was slow, but it didn't matter. The humans had already made their point. For the first time in the Xorthians' long history, they had met a race they could not simply overpower. And as they fled, they'd realized the truth. Earth was not just another planet to conquer. It was a force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The invaders would never return to Earth. The planet had become a living, breathing nightmare for them. The Xorthians had underestimated the humans, and it was a mistake they would never forget. The battle had just begun, but the future was clear. Earth would not be conquered. It would be the one to conquer. The Xorthians' retreat was a sign of something no one had expected: defeat. The humans had managed to hold their ground, and the invaders were left scrambling. They had underestimated Earth's potential, but what they didn't know was that the true power of humanity had just begun to reveal itself. The Xorthians, now disorganized and desperate, attempted to regroup. They tried sending out their most elite forces to salvage the situation, but it was already too late. Earth's armies, bolstered by newfound unity and strength, were only getting stronger. The humans had learned from their enemies. They had adapted, and they were using every advantage they could find. Across Earth's cities, soldiers and civilians alike had come together. Where they once had been divided, they now fought as one. Earth's military forces, enhanced by technology scavenged from the downed Xorthian ships, were being deployed in ways no one had imagined. The Xorthians' advanced weapons and ships were now in human hands, and the humans had begun modifying and improving them. Every piece of technology they captured became another weapon in their fight. Meanwhile, Earth's leaders understood something the Xorthians hadn't. Their planet was alive. It wasn't just the people who were fighting back. The very land, the oceans, and the atmosphere were working together to push the invaders out. Every time the Xorthians tried to land another attack, the Earth seemed to fight back, as if nature itself had taken sides. But the Xorthians, though shaken, were not easily deterred. They called for reinforcements, sending waves of ships from other parts of the galaxy. They had never lost a battle before, and they were determined not to lose this one. The arrival of their reinforcements only increased the stakes. If they couldn't take Earth, their entire empire would be in jeopardy. As the days passed, the conflict escalated into an all-out war. Major cities were reduced to rubble, and humanity faced its darkest hour. But even in the face of destruction, the spirit of Earth's inhabitants never wavered. The people found new strength in their resolve, rallying behind a single, powerful truth: Earth was their home, and they would not let it fall. A new type of warrior had emerged on Earth, one that the Xorthians had never seen before. These warriors were not just soldiers. They were engineers, doctors, civilians, and children who had been transformed by the war. They wielded a combination of technology, cunning, and sheer willpower, unlike any fighting force the galaxy had ever known. The Xorthian ships had been technologically superior, but they lacked the heart, the raw instinct to survive that humans had in abundance. They had conquered death worlds before, but they had never faced a species like humans, who fought not just for survival, but for their home, for their planet. In the midst of the chaos, a human general emerged, an unassuming woman who had never held a military rank before the invasion. Her rise to power was not due to her experience, but because of her ability to unite humanity. She spoke to the hearts of her people, reminding them of everything they had fought for, everything they stood to lose. Under her leadership, humanity struck back with a vengeance. Xorthian fleets, despite their advanced technology, began to falter. Earth's warriors, no longer fighting just for their survival, began to fight for something far more powerful: their future. The Xorthian fleet, now facing overwhelming opposition, was on the verge of collapse. They had underestimated Earth, believing that the humans were nothing more than an insignificant species. They had never considered what might happen if the humans fought with everything they had. They had never considered that the true power of Earth wasn't in its advanced weapons, but in its people, their resilience, their determination, and their unyielding drive to protect what was theirs. The war that had started as an invasion of the so-called Death World was turning into a brutal lesson for the Xorthians. They had come to conquer, but what they found instead was a force of nature unlike any they had ever faced. The Xorthians, who had once ruled the galaxy's deadliest planets, now found themselves facing a world that could never be tamed: Earth. The Xorthian fleet was in disarray. Their once proud warships, equipped with the latest in advanced weaponry, were beginning to fall like dominoes. The humans, united and relentless, had become a force they could not comprehend, let alone defeat. Earth's warriors were not just fighting with advanced technology. They were fighting with the knowledge of their world, their will to survive, and a burning desire to protect their home. The war had raged for weeks, and though the Xorthians had initially taken several key Earth cities, the tides were rapidly turning. The humans' ingenuity, their adaptability, and their refusal to give in had stunned the invaders. The Xorthians had faced countless battles across the galaxy, conquering the most dangerous planets, but they had never encountered an enemy like humanity. On Earth, every part of society had rallied. Scientists were working alongside soldiers to develop new strategies. Farmers were producing food for the troops. Even children had taken up the cause in small ways, sending messages of hope to the front lines, creating morale-boosting art, and inspiring their families to keep fighting. It was a unity never before seen by the galaxy's conquerors. But the true turning point came when the humans discovered the full potential of their environment. Earth was not just a planet. It was alive. The ecosystems, the very elements of nature, had a harmony that the Xorthians could not disrupt. When they tried to land on Earth's most hostile terrains, they found themselves fighting against the planet itself. The weather seemed to turn against them. Storms stronger than anything they had prepared for, volcanic eruptions, and quakes shaking their strongholds. The Xorthians' technology, while advanced, couldn't match the power of nature. And that was when Earth's people realized something crucial. They didn't just have the advantage of superior technology. They had the power of a living, breathing planet on their side. Meanwhile, the human leaders had begun to understand how to harness their newly discovered strengths. They quickly adapted the alien technology they had captured, using it to build massive defenses, fortified underground cities, and powerful anti-ship weapons. The human mind, with its boundless creativity, had turned the tables. The Xorthians' attempts to invade Earth's cities were met with devastating counterattacks. Among the human warriors, a young engineer named Marcus stood out. His knack for creating innovative weapons was unparalleled. In one of his greatest feats, he designed a weapon capable of disabling the Xorthian energy shields. It was a game-changer. The once impenetrable defenses of the Xorthian ships could now be broken. The first time the weapon was used, The effect was instant and devastating. The Xorthian fleet, which had been so confident just days before, found itself under attack from all sides. The human forces, with their newly enhanced weapons and battle strategies, began to tear through the Xorthian ships like a hot knife through butter. But the Xorthians were not ready to give up just yet. They still had one last trick up their sleeve, an ultimate weapon of their own. As the human forces pressed their advantage, the Xorthian leader activated a superweapon, a device capable of wiping out entire continents with a single strike. Was their final hope to break the human resistance once and for all. With the weapon activated and the countdown ticking, the fate of the planet hung in the balance. But the humans were not about to be defeated. A final, daring assault led by Marcus and a team of elite soldiers was launched. They infiltrated the Xorthian stronghold and, using their superior knowledge of the planet, were able to sabotage the superweapon just moments before it could be unleashed. The blast that was meant to destroy Earth's capital cities instead turned inward, causing the Xorthian fleet's final warship to explode. The resulting shockwave reverberated through the enemy ranks, sending the remaining invaders into a panicked retreat. The human warriors had done it. Against all odds, they had beaten the Xorthians. In the aftermath, Earth's soldiers returned to their cities, weary but triumphant. The war was over. The Xorthians had underestimated humanity, believing them to be nothing more than a weak, insignificant species. But in the end, it was the humans who stood victorious, not because of their technology alone, but because of their indomitable spirit, their willingness to fight for their home. The Xorthians had conquered countless death worlds before, but Earth had proven to be something entirely different. It had become their nightmare, a place where their technology, no matter how advanced, couldn't save them from the tenacity of a people fighting for their survival. And as Earth's skies cleared and the echoes of battle faded, the galaxy learned an important lesson. Never underestimate the power of a species defending its home. The Xorthians had come expecting a quick victory. Their reputation as the galaxy's most feared invaders had spread far and wide, and they assumed that Earth, unfamiliar, primitive, and full of weak humans, would be no different. But they quickly learned that Earth was unlike any planet they had encountered before. The invasion began with the Xorthian warships dropping out of faster-than-light travel above Earth's atmosphere. Their massive fleets, armed with weapons capable of leveling entire cities, descended with ruthless efficiency. Initially, the human military was overwhelmed, their defenses struggling to keep up with the sheer power of the alien forces. Cities burned as the invaders claimed ground, their warships leaving nothing but devastation in their wake. But despite the Xorthian firepower, something strange began to happen. Human resistance began to take shape, slowly at first, then building into something unstoppable. People from every corner of the planet, soldiers, civilians, scientists, came together to fight back. They realized that the fight wasn't just about technology or military strength. It was about something deeper, something the Xorthians could never understand: the drive to protect their home. The human spirit was not something easily crushed. The invaders had underestimated the power of unity, the power of the planet's inhabitants. What the Xorthians had failed to notice was Earth's unpredictability. The humans used the very environment to their advantage, hiding in forests, mountains, and underground bases. They used the planet's weather, its terrain, and its natural resources to build weapons of their own. The Xorthians could not predict where the next attack would come from. As the battle raged, a sense of defiance swept across Earth. The humans had begun to adapt to the alien technology they had captured. With each new weapon they reverse-engineered, they grew stronger. It was no longer just about surviving. The humans were now fighting to win. And the Xorthians were starting to feel the pressure. Meanwhile, among the humans was a leader unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Lena Tan, a former scientist turned military strategist, became the face of Earth's resistance. She led her forces with unmatched intelligence, using cunning tactics and innovative weaponry to cripple the Xorthian fleets. Under her command, the human forces began to push back, retaking key cities and dealing significant blows to the invaders. But the Xorthians, despite their failure to conquer Earth, were not ready to retreat. They unleashed their final weapon, a doomsday device capable of destroying entire continents. It was their last hope, a desperate measure to end the war once and for all. As the device activated, Earth's leaders knew they had mere hours to stop it. The clock was ticking, and the fate of the planet rested in the hands of a few brave souls. A special task force, led by Commander Tan, was assembled to infiltrate the enemy's stronghold and disable the weapon before it could be used. The task was dangerous, and the team faced impossible odds. But they pressed on, determined to protect their world. They infiltrated the Xorthian base, dodging alien patrols and avoiding traps set to deter intruders. Each member of the team had a specific role to play, and together they were a well-oiled machine, their synergy making them more formidable than any single Xorthian force. As they reached the heart of the Xorthian stronghold, they found the weapon, massive, deadly, and humming with energy. The countdown had already begun. They had no time to waste. Commander Tan knew this was their only chance. She ordered her team to place explosives around the device, but as they worked, the Xorthians launched a final assault, attempting to prevent them from reaching their goal. It was a fierce, desperate fight, but the humans were determined. They fought with everything they had, knowing that the future of their world was at stake. Just as the countdown hit its final seconds, Commander Tan gave the order to detonate. The explosion that followed was immense, obliterating the Xorthian weapon and sending shockwaves through the enemy ranks. The force of the blast was so powerful that it sent the remaining Xorthian ships scattering, retreating back into the void of space. The battle was over. The Xorthians had been defeated. Earth, against all odds, had survived. The humans, battered but victorious, looked toward the sky. Their world, their home, had been saved, not just by weapons or technology, but by the unbreakable will to survive. The Xorthians had come to conquer Earth, but they had underestimated the strength of its people. Earth's warriors had proven that no force in the galaxy, no matter how powerful, could ever defeat them. And the galaxy would remember the lesson. Never challenge Earth, for it was the home of the most resilient species the universe had ever known. The Xorthians retreated, but the victory for humanity was not without its price. The aftermath of the war was a world in chaos. Cities lay in ruins, and millions of lives had been lost. But even in the darkest of times, the human spirit shone brightly. Earth had survived, and the people, though scarred, began to rebuild. The military was honored for their bravery, but the real heroes were the everyday citizens who had taken up arms, offering everything they had to defend their planet. Engineers, doctors, teachers, and students. Everyone had contributed to the war effort. Humanity's strength was not just in its soldiers, but in its unity, in its ability to adapt and persevere, even in the face of overwhelming odds. In the days following the victory, Commander Lena Tan became a symbol of Earth's resilience. Her name was spoken with reverence across the globe. She had not only led Earth's military forces, but also inspired the people to stand up and fight for their future. But despite the glory and recognition, Lena knew there was much work still to be done. The war had only ended. The real challenge now was rebuilding a world that had been devastated. While the people of Earth focused on reconstruction, they also turned their attention to the stars. The defeat of the Xorthians had sent ripples through the galaxy, and Earth's sudden rise from the ashes had not gone unnoticed. Other alien civilizations, some friendly, some hostile, were watching with keen interest. Humanity had proven itself capable of standing up to the most powerful forces in the universe. They were no longer the weakest link in the galaxy. They were a force to be reckoned with. Earth's leaders knew that this new era would be filled with challenges. There were rumors of new threats on the horizon, alien empires eager to test Earth's newfound strength. But humanity had a different mindset now. They had faced destruction and survived. They had fought off the galaxy's most deadly predators. The human race had learned an invaluable lesson. No matter what the galaxy threw at them, Earth would always stand strong. In the years to come, humanity would form alliances with other races, share knowledge and technology, and explore the far reaches of space. They would travel to distant planets, chart new stars, and uncover mysteries beyond their wildest imaginations. But no matter how far they ventured, Earth would always remain their home, the one place that had united them in their darkest hour and helped them rise to greatness. The Xorthians, having failed in their conquest, became a distant memory. They would never return to Earth, for they knew that their defeat had been absolute. Earth had become a symbol of defiance, a shining example of what could be achieved when a species refused to give up. The galaxy had learned that humans were not to be underestimated. The reputation of Earth's warriors, forged in the fires of battle, spread throughout the universe, and while the rest of the galaxy moved on, humanity's legend had only just begun. The war was over, but the journey had just begun. Earth's future was now in its own hands, and the lessons of the past would guide them as they ventured into a new era. With their unshakable spirit, Earth's people knew that they could face anything the galaxy could throw at them. They had defeated the Xorthians, and they would never stop fighting for their future. In the years following the war, Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The scars left by the Xorthians' invasion still lingered in the form of destroyed cities, broken communities, and lost lives. Yet, amidst the wreckage, humanity had found hope. Earth's greatest strength now lay not in its military might, but in its ability to adapt and rebuild, to come together as one, no matter the challenges. The rebuilding efforts were led by Commander Lena Tan, who had become the symbol of humanity's resurgence. Her leadership had inspired countless others, and she was now tasked with overseeing the reconstruction of the planet. Across the world, people worked tirelessly to restore their homes, cities, and economies. From the smallest villages to the largest metropolises, the message was clear: Earth would not be defeated. But despite the optimism and progress on the planet, Earth's leaders knew that the galaxy was far from a peaceful place. The Xorthians had fallen, but there were whispers of new threats from the far reaches of space. The galaxy had seen the power of Earth's warriors and was no longer underestimating humanity's capabilities. However, many alien species were unsure of what to make of humanity. They were both intrigued and frightened by the humans' resilience and unpredictability. Lena, however, was not worried. She had witnessed the strength of humanity firsthand, and she knew that Earth would rise to any challenge. The new human alliance that had formed between Earth's governments, military leaders, and civilians was proof enough of that. They had learned from the Xorthian War that they could face any enemy with unity, strength, and innovation. In the galactic councils, many of the galaxy's older races were still processing the defeat of the Xorthians. They had underestimated the power of Earth, and now they had to reconsider their views. Earth was no longer seen as a backwater planet. Instead, it was seen as a world of potential, of hope, and of fierce determination. Alien races who had once viewed humans as weak now approached Earth with respect, and sometimes even fear. As part of the rebuilding process, Lena and her team had to forge new alliances with other civilizations. Many alien species, eager to avoid any further conflict, extended their hands to Earth, offering resources and knowledge. With these new partnerships, Earth's technology and understanding of the universe grew at an unprecedented rate. Humanity was not just rebuilding its world. They were also expanding their influence across the galaxy. Yet, in the shadows, new threats began to stir. Some of the galaxy's most dangerous predators, who had been watching Earth's rise, began to take note of the rapid progress humanity was making. These enemies, seeing the unbreakable spirit of Earth's people, decided it was time to test humanity once more. They saw Earth's growth as a challenge to their dominance in the galaxy and began plotting their own attacks. Lena knew that Earth was entering a new phase in its history. While rebuilding was essential, so was preparation for the future. The Xorthians had been a reminder that the galaxy was full of dangers, and Earth had to be ready. As Earth's military and leadership formed new strategies to defend their home, the people of the planet began to realize something profound. They were no longer just survivors. They were becoming leaders of their own destiny. Humanity had come a long way from the days when Earth was considered insignificant. Now, the universe was watching them closely. They had conquered their greatest enemy, and their rise was only beginning. The war with the Xorthians had proven to the galaxy that humans were capable of more than just survival. They had the strength, intellect, and heart to overcome anything. Earth's future had just begun, and Lena Tan was determined to lead her people into this new era, no matter the obstacles that lay ahead. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once before. Now, it would never make that mistake again. Earth was ready to face whatever the universe had in store, knowing that together, they could achieve the impossible.